Hey guys, Udo and Tabatha Mohr. We are visiting missionaries from Honduras. We are here with our 9-year-old twins, almost 10, Callie and Conrad. First of all, thank you so much for having us. We actually have really enjoyed working with y'all over the last year, and just want to say thank you from our side for everything that you have done for our ministries. To tell a little bit about ourselves, we are from Charleston, South Carolina, on the state side. Tabby and I have been married 14 years. We met about 15 years ago in the Air Force. And God's just had a really amazing journey for us through our lives. Our journey in mission started about 7 years ago. Our church had asked us if we would like to join to a trip to Haiti. And we worked with a group out there to work for sustainability in some deaf and very poor mountain communities. And it was really a life-changing event for us. We remember on the way back, driving in the bus to the mountains, God had spoken to us both. We just both knew that He would ask us to the mission field, but the time was not right. To fast forward a couple years on, about 7 years ago, we had moved to a different area and a new church, and Tabby, one of our friends, actually had asked her if she wanted to join them on a missions trip, and I'll let her tell you a little bit about it.
So I ended up joining the women's team for a missions trip down to Honduras. And at the time that I went, I had no idea where Honduras even was, honestly. I knew it was Central America, but didn't know exactly where in there. And so we get there, and I am praying, and I am just asking God, what do you have for me here? What do you want me to do here? And what is the purpose and the plan for me in this time? And so I'll never forget walking across the field. There's this field on the Children's Home campus. And I was walking across that field, and I remember thinking and praying, and God just broke down my walls. He broke down the barriers, the blinders that I had set up in place. And He said, look at the children. See what I see. And He showed me their pain. He showed me their hurt. He showed me the brokenness. He showed me their loneliness. And it broke me. And it was at that time that I felt like God was calling us to Honduras. And so I come home, and I kind of let Him know what God had shown me, and that I felt like that might be where He's calling us.
So Tabby comes back home, and she is beyond excited, and she has this joy that's just radiating. And if sometimes you go into missions trips, this happens. They call it a little bit of a high coming back. And I said, that's fine. We're going to pray about it. And it was kind of my answer, just to push it off to the side a little bit. But I remember it was only a couple weeks later, we were in the middle of praise and worship, and God came and impressed in my own heart. He said, this is it. And I leaned over to Tabby and I said, hey, I don't know why, but I just know that this summer I think we need to go back to Honduras.
And I started bawling.
And so we went to Honduras and met up with some missionary friends way down there, just to kind of spend a week and a half with them and see what God had planned for us. But by the end of the trip, it was we were very sure of His calling. But now we actually had to start planning. If people that know me, I am Mr. Planner, Mr. Security, Mr. Everything, and missions trips have nothing to do with that. Currently, where we're at in our lives is, truthfully saying, we were living the American dream. God had blessed our careers, education, with our kids. It was the perfect life. We had the big house in the country. And for God to come to us right now and say, hey, I need you to come to the mission field, was a little bit inconvenient, to say the least. And I know Tabby and I have had this conversation. There was nothing we were more sure about at that point in our lives. God even gave me a massive piece about finances, and He said He's the provider, that He will take care of that. So it took about a year and a half, almost 2 years of planning and prayers. We kind of left everything behind and got on a plane and headed down to Honduras. And also, to be truthfully honest, initially when God called us to Honduras, it was with where our children's home and our school was, with our missions. there was really not necessarily a spot available for us at the point or a specific need, but God kept telling us, I need you to go, I need you to go. So we got on our plane with our kids, and our few bags that we had was our whole lives at that point, and we showed up in Honduras. Now, we got there, and we were very busy immediately. We started working with evangelism teams, medical teams. We did food distributions. We were helping in a local plant and stuff. But very soon, we had a little bit of a pull to the side with one of our really amazing missionary friends. And they sat us down and they said, hey, some things have changed. And we've been praying about it, and we need you to pray about it. But we want you to consider taking over our local school down there. So let Tabby tell you a little bit about our ministry.
So we absolutely love the ministry that God has placed us in. We did not plan on taking over the school, but God had it lined up all along. And we have been blessed with an amazing outreach opportunity. About 1/4 of our students are from the children's home right there on the campus, and the other 3/4 of our students are from the surrounding community, which we get to speak life, we get to speak Jesus into these kids daily, and it is such a blessing to be able to see them walk the walk with Jesus and carry home everything that we have been able to talk about in the school. And so just to give you guys a little bit more about Honduras. Honduras is an extremely poor country. It is a country with an abundance of crime. It is high corruption in the government, and the public education system is very, very difficult there and not a good place to be. Classes have about 40 students in them, and they are packed into this little classroom with hard concrete floors and open windows, and it is just not conducive to the children being able to learn properly. And so just to give you guys a couple of facts about Honduras education system, 20% of Honduras in the rural areas of Hondurans are illiterate. And so that's 20%. 63% of the Honduran labor force only completed an elementary education. And only 25% of youth ages 16 to 18 are actually in a secondary education system. And so that means that 75% of students don't even go on to a secondary education. That's high school. And so we really have been blessed with an opportunity to pour into the kids, give them a proper education system. We have been told our school is on par with some of the best schools in the big city in Honduras, which is a huge accomplishment in this little rural area. And that just goes to show what God has done in this school and how amazing of an opportunity this really is for our students. And so it's just been amazing because we have this thing where we start the week with God, and we teach them in this thing called Rutina, where we all gather in a big group, and we get a Bible verse, and we talk about that Bible verse and teach them what that Bible verse means. And then by the end of the week, they have this Bible verse memorized, and they are shouting it in the Rutina assembly. And it is amazing just seeing their faces light up as they get it. Not only that, but we have Bible classes that the kids get to attend during the week. And in the morning, they have their homeroom time where they do devotionals in the classroom. So we are speaking life in Jesus because we have them 8 hours a day. We get to this time with them. And it is an amazing opportunity how God has shown up in just an abundance with them. And then they go home and they do it with their parents. And so we have seen some of our students, they actually come to the church now that is on campus, and they bring their parents with them to the church. And it is so cool, y'all. And we even had a student just get baptized a couple weeks ago in the river right there, and it was amazing. But right before we left, there was this little K-5 student. And the little student in devotion time, the teacher had asked, "What makes your heart happy?" And he told the teacher, he said, "I'm happy today because I have Jesus in my heart." And that's what it's about. There's nothing greater than hearing a little student say that. And he gets it. He's getting it. And he has the love of Jesus in his heart. And it's been just such a blessing to watch this happen.
We've also had an amazing opportunity. We had a big change this year. We used to have a lot of volunteer teachers from the U.S., but God's led the school a bit of a new direction. Majority of our teachers are now Honduran. And God instilled also in our hearts that our mission is twofold. It's with our children and with our teachers. And so we started a discipleship program with our teachers. We do devotions every week, and we do a lot of meetings with them, and just to kind of see where their growth and stuff is at, because their health, spiritual health, is going to really reflect on their children. So it's been a really amazing opportunity. The schools also, God's blessed us with some teams coming through and some construction we've done. Because our school's growing, we're adding a grade every year. We've added some classrooms. We've refurbished our library and our computer lab. We're working on putting new roofs on there. We've new offices. We've new entrances. We've able to open our grounds now to the outside road to the community. And as Debbie mentioned, our school has about 150 kids. Next year, we're expecting about 170 kids, and 3/4 of those are from the community. So we're opening doors to welcome them and just love on them. And something I want to talk about too that was really exciting this year. My background is actually as an IT guy, and in our computer science lab. We started to teach programming this year. We've started 3D CAD modeling. We've done web design. We're doing all kinds of cool stuff in there, and the kids absolutely love it. And at the end of the day, is these kids, their parents, the community kids and our own kids, but some of these parents work 3-4 jobs to send their kids over here. And for the first time in their life, their kids are going to have a fighting chance in this community. They're going to, be able to possibly go to university and stuff, something that they never had before.
And we've had parents who come in and they find hope, and they are weeping in our offices when the children get accepted. They're weeping because they know the impact that it's going to have on their children's life, and it has been just so amazing.
One thing we want to talk about too is our sister ministry, the Good Shepherd's Children's Home, that's on site with us, and our kids that do join us. It's been an amazing ministry just to partner with them and love on these kids every day. We know that teams have visited, and it has been just a huge opportunity to partner with them, get to know everybody too on that. But I think we can keep talking about our school, but we have a video we'd like to show you, and if you want to watch this.
Mountains are still being moved. Strongholds are still being loosed. God, we believe it. Yes, we can see that wonders are still what you do. We are here for you. Come and do what you do. We are here for you. Come and do what you do. Set our hearts on you. Come and do what you do. 'Cause we need a move.
So the first thing people ask us when we got back, when they were like, "How was it? You know, how did everything go?" And we say, "Well, between the tarantulas and scorpions and snakes and stomach parasites and emergency appendicitis, frequent government protests and shutdowns, very rough roads, a home break-in, our dog passing, plenty of car issues, almost daily water and power issues, blistering heat, flash floods, and very tight budgets. Honestly, it's been one of the most amazing years that you can ever imagine. This last year, just seeing how God had moved in our ministry, how God had changed lives, it is humbling. There were so many moments, or just times we went through that. Tabby and I had this plan. We thought, hey, we know how to do this. We know how to run an organization and stuff. Just to get there and realize that this is not ours. This is God's, and He's got a better plan on this. And God just had this magnificent way of making things work out. When we thought the road had ended, we got there and there was a highway. And it was beautiful. So in the midst of all these hardships, just knowing God was alongside us was the most encouraging thing. And it is more important just to honor Him and be grateful that He allows us to come alongside Him in missions. James 1, verse 2 to 3 says, "Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know the testing of your faith produces steadfastness."
So, what has God taught us through obedience? We have found that obedience requires sacrifice. And you have to give up your own agenda and give up your own plan and really give it to God. And He does so much more than we ever could imagine. We never thought we'd take over the school, but God had prepared us for that long before we got into that position. And He keeps showing up right when we need Him most. And when we are on our knees and we know we cannot, we know He can, and He does. And He shows up in so many ways. And even though we felt ill-equipped, the Bible tells us in James 1:5, "If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given to him." God has given us so much this year. And like Udo said, even through the hardships, we knew we had God, and that made it all better. His plan is abundantly better than our plan. So Proverbs 19:21 tells us, "Many are the plans in the midst of a man, but it is the purpose of the Lord that will stand." Receiving Christ is not a checklist item. It is a reward. And it is a reward to be obedient and to step out in faith and take that step in obedience. Because when you do that, y'all, amazing things happen and God shows up so big. But you have to be willing, we had to be willing to take that first step.
So the question is, how can you help in our ministry? Before we came back to the States this year, we had long prayers and conversations with God, and we promised Him that we were not going to go back and ask for anything for our family. We knew that He was going to take care of us. So as Tabby and I told you, a lot of these parents and even and the children at our home, the type of education we provide is world class. There's no doubt about it. And to educate these kids does take some finance commitments. Our home and our parents are doing their best to help out. We truly believe as missionaries, if we step in the mission field, that that we do not build dependencies on us. The dependencies are only on Jesus and the community themselves. So as the community is trying to help out run our school, we're just coming alongside them to supplement a little bit. We started education fund this year. It's called Education is Greater Than Poverty. It just truly reflects that we're trying to say that education is what is going to build the church in this community, and is what's going to get these kids, it's going to break the bondages of poverty for them. So we'll put a little link below the video if you're interested in maybe a monthly donation, if you're interested and maybe something happened right now and you were wondering, well, what can I do and where can I help out? We would love you to come alongside us and give these kids really a fighting chance. Also, if you are a teacher, if you are right out of college, or if you're in a midlife and you want to do something different, or you're retired, we've had some amazing teachers down there in Honduras that have helped. But if you're just thinking about maybe doing that, we have great facilities on site. We have hot water and Wi-Fi. But it's going to take sacrifice. But it's an amazing opportunity for you to come pour in and love on these kids. And whether it's for a semester, a year, or even more, please come alongside us. Also, teams. If there's been a calling for missions, or you've seen some of this, why not? Why don't you go sit on a meeting? Why don't you go talk to somebody that's been on missions and say, tell me a little bit more about this? And then maybe reach out to us or to your pastor, whatever, and say, let's do this.
It's all about taking that first step. It really is. And taking that first step takes a lot of courage at times, and it takes getting out of your comfort zone, but it's that first step.
It is. I do this little thing whenever we have a mission teams that we're done with a mission team and they're about to head home to the airport, and we get on the bus and I say, hey, I just don't want anybody to say anything for a second. I just want you to listen. And I ask this question. I say, what now? I say, what now? I said, you've just had this amazing week in the field, and you're going to feel great when you get home. But is it just 1 week? Is it just a small period in your life? But are you asking yourself the question, what now? What's God asking me through this, or telling me through all this? Has God been pressing something in your heart in ministry? Has God asked you to go talk to somebody at work? Has God asked you to sacrifice finances, or sacrifice something that's very important in your life? Is there something that's holding you back? The question you should always be asking yourself is, what now? Now, God has spoken to you, and what do you do with your life now?
So it's not always to go to Honduras. It's not always, some people go, some people give, some people support. But God is always asking us to do something, whether that is to go to your neighbor's house, or to serve locally, or to go to Honduras. He might be calling you to do that, which we'd love to have you. But God is always asking us, what now?
Thank you so much for having us. We love you all very much, and have a great day.
Thank you.